Hello and welcome to Legal Brand Marketing's official YouTube channel, where we'll bring you wisdom and resources from professionals across the legal lead generation industry. Today I'm joined by Andy Northcutt, VP of Business Development at Legal Brand Marketing, and Matt Thelen, CEO and co-founder at AttorneyShare, to discuss a revolutionary new way to approach referrals and how Legal Brand Marketing can help you grow your firm. For more conversations like these, please be sure to subscribe and leave a like before you go, and of course, enjoy the video. We're discussing AttorneyShare, the benefits of AttorneyShare. I want to begin right at the top with just some introductions. Andy, do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about LBM, Legal Brand Marketing?
Andy Northcutt, Vice President of Business Development for Legal Brand Marketing. I've been doing legal marketing for about 20 years now. And Legal Brand Marketing is a true performance lead generation company. We handle about a dozen practice areas, core law areas, anything from auto accident to tax debt. And we deliver those leads to attorneys in real time.
So Matt, if you don't mind taking it over and talking a little bit about who you are and what AttorneyShare is all about, and then we can go a little bit deeper after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. My name is Matt Thelen. I'm the CEO of AttorneyShare. AttorneyShare is a referral platform designed specifically for attorneys to make sending and receiving referrals easier, both in the act of making the referral and post that transaction process, creating transparency and credibility within the ecosystem, with the end goal being to find the best attorney for every client.
So the overview, I think that and we can obviously expand from here, is that we want to talk a little bit about how attorneys can streamline referrals, how they can expand their reach. Matt, if I could have you talk a little bit about the benefits, the key benefits of this approach that AttorneyShare is offering to attorneys.
Yeah, I think it comes back to how important referrals are within the legal ecosystem. I've seen some separate data points that have a little bit of conflicting information, but I don't think anyone can argue that referrals make up a significant portion of the business for especially contingency-based consumer litigation attorneys. Anybody that's focused on personal injury, motor vehicle accidents, things like that, referrals make up a core portion of the revenue stream. And the problem, though, comes in how referrals are currently made. It is all text message, email, phone calls. It's a very outdated process. And so when we set out to build AttorneyShare, we designed the platform to really create more efficiencies and more streamlined workflows for attorneys in the referral process, both sending and receiving. So at the end of the day, everything we focus on comes down to one word, and that word is efficiency.
And Andy, could you speak a little bit about the importance of referrals that you've seen on your side, business development with LBM?
Sure. I mean, to Matt's point about efficiency is that, time is a big portion of that, and spending that time to track that or to get someone in your office to go ahead and refer that out. Within lead generation, you don't want to be as strict as possible and say, hey, I only want this very specific case type within motor vehicle accidents, and I want this criteria and this this person to have insurance, and them to have been in the hospital right away, and all these different sort of things that the law firm ultimately wants. But you need a platform like AttorneyShare, because you're going to get cases who maybe they got in that auto accident on the other side of the state, or maybe a state that's next to their state, and they want to refer that out because maybe it's not what is the bread and butter of their law firm. And with the click of a button, they could use a platform such as AttorneyShare to go ahead and deliver those cases into that system and have that person being taken care of by a law firm that specializes in that sort of case that they would want.
Just to expand on that concept there, any attorney that's really investing in marketing or brand or getting their name out there, as Andy said, is inevitably going to get cases that aren't tailor-made for their firm. And so at that point, they essentially are left with three options. Option one is, do we take the case anyway, where it's not our expertise, it's not the best ROI of our firm's hours and our resources? Two, do we try to refer that case out to another attorney? It takes a lot of time, a lot of resources historically to shop that case, essentially. Or three, simply tell the client, sorry, can't help you, go talk to someone else. All three of those are a bad outcome for the firm. And quite frankly, all three of them are a bad outcome for that client because the client's not getting the help that they deserve in a fast and efficient manner. And so that's really the gap that we look to solve with Attorney Share.
Andy, I want to hear from you. How would our business be enhanced with a platform like Attorney Share?
It's very simple. The Attorney Share plugs into just about any platform. So, for example, like a Clio or a Litify or something like that. And so because it's so easy for them and they're integrated there on the back end to post a case, we at Legal Brand Marketing can also hook into that platform on the front side. So let's say they're working with us, we're providing leads for the MBA category or maybe workers' comp or something like that. Keep in mind that Attorney Share focuses mainly on the contingency space. We would post that lead in real time into that platform, such as Clio, and then directly from Clio, exactly where they're getting all their leads and posting all their leads into that system through all their marketing campaigns. If there is a case potential there, then they can go ahead with the click of a button, within 2 minutes. If they didn't already create it as a case, it might take them that long, or a couple seconds if it's already there. They would post that case into Attorney Share, and within minutes, let's say 10, 15 minutes, they might already have 10, 15 law firms that are now bidding on that case to go ahead and take that over.
Okay, so it sounds like Attorney Share is establishing an infrastructure that is allowing different firms to create a network that distribute these leads or these clients to places that might be more appropriate for them if the firm can't take them on. Can you talk a little bit about why that doesn't already exist and what it is about Attorney Share that's so different?
Yeah, I mean, I think what a lot of times attorneys currently do is that they'll get a lead into their firm and they'll email or they'll call someone that they've worked with in the past, which again, it is a fine system if you know for sure that that individual is going to take the case. But what inevitably happens is I take 10, 15 minutes describing to Andy why, the fact pattern of this case, why he should take it. And at the end of the 10, 15 minutes or the end of the email, Andy says, I have a full docket, or I was supposed to take my family on vacation next week, or I just don't like the fact pattern the same way that Matt does. And then I'm back at square one. And then I have to decide again, do I go down the list and find someone else that might be interested in this case? Or do I go back to the client and say, sorry, I can't help you? And so again, it's just a very poor system from an automation standpoint. And so at Attorney Share, what we did is we built two separate workflows. One is what we call waterfall referrals. And the easiest way to think about that is it's a direct referral process that incorporates automation sequencing. So if I have my existing referral network, the people that I've worked with for 10, 15, 20 years, I could put them into what we call a waterfall. And it will automatically push the matter to the person that's at the top of the waterfall. If that person doesn't want that case, it rejects it for whatever reason, or is unresponsive within the time parameters that I apply to that particular case, it will automatically push to number 2 in the waterfall, and so on and so forth down the list, so that I don't have to manually shop that case over and over again. Now, separately, if I am running a national campaign with Andy and getting a lot of leads from all over, and for whatever reason I get a lead or two that aren't in the jurisdiction which I'm licensed to practice, but I don't have a great referral partner in that jurisdiction, I can also put the case in what we call the marketplace. And the easiest way to think about the marketplace is that it's eBay for referrals. And so attorneys can search that marketplace for referrals that they'd be interested in co-counseling with or helping on the case. And they submit a proposal to me as the referring attorney, and then I decide, is that an attorney I want to work with? But it essentially creates a catch-all for some of these potential cases that otherwise don't have a home.
Independent of what you mentioned, Matt, in regards to the caseload of particular law firms, if they say, I'm used to referring this sort of case to this specific law firm, there's also unforeseen things that pop up on top of that caseload. Is it something personal that came up? Is it a medical emergency? Is it something like that? And so this waterfall versus marketplace fits in nicely because it can take in consideration for those things that maybe just happened today, as opposed to I've had this ongoing caseload. It's something that came in the way of that particular referral partner, which Attorney Share can solve that problem.
I wanted to ask Matt, about integration with attorney share. What does integration look like for a firm that doesn't use this service right now, but might be interested in doing it?
I think that it comes back to what I started the conversation with, where everything we do is aimed at efficiency. And so we've invested a lot of resources, a lot of time, and a lot of energy in creating best of class integrations with all the major case management systems. So whether you're on Clio or MyCase or Lead Docket or Filevine or Litify, you can integrate your existing case management system into Attorney Share so that you could send the cases directly from your case management system into the Attorney Share platform without having to manually input the information. And additionally, we also pull status updates from those case management systems directly into the Attorney Share platform so that it's a two-way sync to create more visibility and more transparency within the referral ecosystem.
I would think that attorney share would add a lot of trust and peace of mind in that regard as well. So, if they get a case, maybe they're a newer a more fresh law firm, and they look up some guy and say, hey, this guy might be able to handle my case. I'll go ahead and send it to him. I'll make a third of a third agreement with him. And I don't know when this case is going to settle, or if I'll even hear from him, or what his intake's like, or what his feedback loop is like. So within attorney share, it makes that very transparent, and I'm assuming that you probably have some visibility as well into the number of referrals possibly sent to this particular law firm, almost creating a score or a reputability type point for you to go off of.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we have what we call the dashboard, and it's really a data visualization tool, and you can log in and see essentially what all of your portfolio of referrals is doing. So who I've sent multiple cases to, what the fee sharing agreements are, when I sent those cases, how many cases are MVA, how many cases are personal injury, how many cases are in Arizona or Illinois, and I could really start to unpack the data around my referrals and understanding what's happening both at a macro level with all of my referrals, but then granularly on an individual referral, when it was sent, what the exact fee sharing agreement was. There's a hyperlink to the PDF of the fee sharing agreement, what case status updates are happening with that case. And as the platform matures and gets a little bit more robust, we want to increase the number of data points there, because unfortunately, anybody that has dealt with a significant number of referrals in this industry has experienced either forgetting or losing track of what's happened with a referral and kind of losing sight of the case, or even worse, a dispute around a referral. Where did the lead actually originate? What was the fee split that we agreed to? And you have to spend time negotiating that or coming to terms with that on the referral partner to make sure that you guys are not in dispute. But it happens far too often within this industry. And so by providing that transparency into what's happening and creating a paper trail of all that supports the relationship and the documentation around it, it really creates a lot more trust within the referral ecosystem.
Matt, if you could walk me through this, let's say that there's a law firm that's a part of Legal Brand Marketing's lead generation. A consumer comes through, they hit trafficaccidents.com, they get put in touch with Joe Smith Law Firm, who's in Chicago. Turns out that the lead was in an auto accident in Carbondale, Illinois, and he wants to go ahead and refer that out. How easy is it for this firm, assuming that they spoke to the gentleman, they're telling them what's going on, they're providing that transparency, how easy is it for them to deliver that into the Attorney Share platform?
I would say that they would be able to create a referral in the Attorney Share platform, either automate it through their case management system. So if the matter is already in their case management system, within 10, 30 seconds. If it's not already in their case management system, they can manually create that referral in, I would say, probably 2 minutes or less. And then for practice areas like MVA or personal injury or large consumer litigation practice areas in populated states, they will have referral proposals from interested attorneys. For an MVA like that, they would have probably 5 proposals within 10 minutes.
Usually based off of a percentage?
Based off of percentage, yeah, and just whatever firm they want to work with. And so from start to finish, from the time intake was complete to having a potential co-counsel on an individual case, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. You touched on something important there is when I put a referral into the attorney share platform, or an attorney puts a referral into the attorney share platform, attorney share does not direct traffic. We don't dictate where that case goes. We don't push it to certain attorneys or certain law firms or anything like that. The discretion lies 100% with the referring attorney. So Joe Smith, as you described, puts that case into the platform. He will receive proposals from interested attorneys that want to co-counsel with him or want to take the case over for him, depending on the jurisdiction. Joe Smith gets to decide which counsel he wants to work with. He gets to decide based on the fee split, based on the attorney's reputation, based on other factors like second languages that might be necessary to service that specific client. There's a whole host of factors that come into play in making that referral decision. So attorney share does not, we don't believe that we should partake in placing cases. What we do is we provide the communication platform to facilitate referring attorneys to make that place that case.
So Andy, could you talk about, in the simplest terms, how would the integration of LBM's platform improve a law firm's ROI?
Because legal brand marketing can hook into these platforms, it's a very simple API setup for us to post into whatever platform that attorney's using. And because their platform is likely integrated with attorney share on the back end, this allows an attorney to possibly scale their marketing. So let's say they only take Los Angeles, but they could potentially take cases in the entire state if it was a big enough case. They could then go to legal brand marketing, us, and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to expand my territory to take the entire state of California for my MBA marketing. And we'd say, okay. And so as they post that, and as they can lean on attorney share to then post any cases that might be just, possibly out of their specialty, possibly just a different case than they're looking for. Maybe they're going out of town that weekend and they needed somebody to go ahead and just take that case from there. That allows them to not only expand their marketing, but possibly be able to cherry pick some of the better cases that they might want or that fit into their wheelhouse, refer the rest out, which then pays for the marketing on the front end. So basically, having attorney share on the back end and the ability of legal brand marketing to post into their platform and then pivot out allows them to potentially get better cases and end up with a better ROI.
But one thing that I wanted to ask about was word of mouth marketing. And these are things that are a little bit difficult to quantify, but this kind of service from a consumer standpoint seems almost altruistic when you go to a firm and you're looking for a service they can't offer to you, but they're helping you connect to somebody that can help you. What are the unquantifiable benefits of attorney share?
Yeah, I honestly think that there's a lot, and maybe that's just because I helped build it and I'm pretty biased. But I think from a super high level and kind of a surface level benefit, we're saving attorneys time and energy. And in an industry that is focused almost solely on how many hours the attorney is spending on a particular matter, saving time and energy for each individual client means the attorney is able to focus their work more effectively on the clients that they're best able to serve. And so it becomes less a distraction of, I'm trying to find a home for this case, I'm trying to do this. And the attorney gets to focus on the subject matter that they are best suited to serve the clients on. A layer below that, and we've talked about this previously, is that we are helping pair the best attorney for each individual client. Every attorney that's ever passed the bar, essentially, including myself, and I've never practiced consumer law, has been approached by a friend or a family member or a stranger and said, can you help me with this type of law that is completely out of the realm of your expertise? And there's a part of every attorney that feels bad because the answer is no, I can't help you. I'm sorry. I wish I could. It's just that's not what I do. And so by providing this platform, we're hoping to link and connect those clients with the right attorney that actually can help them and provide them the representation that they deserve. And then drilling even further beyond that, one of the things that we've unpacked from the attorney share platform is it helps create a meritocracy within the legal industry. And let me explain what I mean by that. the way referrals currently work, and it's human nature, is that you send them to the people that you are familiar with, that are like you, that you go golfing with on the weekends, that you went to law school with, or whatever the case might be, your friends and your colleagues. What the problem that creates, especially within the legal industry, is that underrepresented groups don't have the same access to referrals as individuals that come from a more traditional background, that went to the Ivy League schools, whose parents were lawyers and whose parents were lawyers, who come from a certain type of background. And with that, and as we talked about, referrals are such a core piece of growing a book of business, of becoming a successful trial attorney in consumer litigation, that without having access to that same deal flow, for lack of a better term, it's that much more difficult to grow your practice and grow professionally as an attorney. And so what we've designed on the platform is what we call affiliations. And this will be live in about 2 weeks. And we're really excited about this. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to set your referrals directly to certain groups or organizations. So organizations that represent young attorneys, organizations that represent attorneys from minority backgrounds, women-owned law firm groups, so that if I want my referrals to go to a certain category of attorneys, I'm able to do that, and to really make sure that I'm pairing the case and the client with the best attorney for them, not just who I happen to be friends with or who I happen to know for 20 years, really the best attorney for that client, regardless of any other inherent biases I might have.
Yeah, so therefore, I would think that attorney share and lead generators like ourselves, like legal brand marketing, is like the ultimate bias eliminator when you do something like that. Is that you don't have these firms that are relying on this buddy system or this brand that they had so many millions of dollars to build over time through generations, where maybe their father's father's father built up that brand. Is that the lead generators are now marrying this with attorney share, where they can then post these cases. And a lot of successful firms actually come out with where somebody was a part of a larger firm, and maybe them and another associate leave that firm, and that allows them to basically be successful right away, to where they can hook up to a couple of lead generators, get some case volume in there, have attorney share to have refer out those cases, and build their firm without that bias involved as they build their own brand. And as they deliver cases within that platform, I'm assuming that there's transparency there, where that law firm knows they picked it up from attorney Joe Smith or whoever that is, and then that builds up their name in the marketplace too, where if they see them at a conference or a show, or they need somebody to speak on a panel or anything like that, maybe they bring that attorney on who they didn't know yesterday.
That's exactly right.
Have you encountered, Matt specifically, have you encountered any resistance to the way that attorney share is trying to change the way that referrals are done, or are there people out there that just really love pay-per-click?
I haven't, other than the inherent resistance to technology and adoption of new processes that permeates the legal industry, I haven't seen anyone that specifically had a problem with how we were doing things. I think there was a lot of initial questions around the ethics and compliance and professional responsibility obligations of attorneys using a referral platform. But we've done extensive work with ethics counsel across the country to make sure that what we are providing is ethical and compliant, and allows attorneys to make referrals or co-counsel agreements as necessary in order to help the client receive the best representation possible. But as far as resistance, no, the biggest challenge is just attorneys are generally slow adopters of technology, but that goes back to us trying to make it as efficient and easy as possible, and integrate as tightly as possible with existing solutions within their firm.
So one of the biggest concerns that lawyers always bring up is lead quality whenever they're talking about buying leads. So can you talk a little bit about how legal brand marketing assures that they're stopping some of these junk leads, or how they're filtering out some of the leads that lawyers don't want?
Sure. We don't want to get in the way too much in terms of, something active and manual, but certainly something automated makes a lot of sense. So for example, we're hooked into Active Prospect, which has a tool called Lead Conduit. Within there's trusted form certifications, or certificates rather, which track their consent. But within there's think of it when you take your car in for an oil change and they do, 10 or 11 other checks within this process. It's very similar to where we can turn certain campaign flows on to check for DNC, for trestle phone validation. I mean, we're looking at down to even the keystroke level, seeing, hey, did that person press F8 and were they on a mobile device? That seems impossible. So it can automatically kill that delivery right away without ever delivering to the attorney and for them even knowing that lead existed.
Andy, I'd like to know about the areas that legal brand marketing covers, the different practice areas that you provide leads in. Can you talk about that for a bit?
Absolutely. I know we're concentrating here mainly on the contingency space, so we certainly do that. We have motor vehicle accidents and we have workers' compensation within there. But we also do SSDI, bankruptcy, criminal defense, DUI, estate planning, family law, general personal injury, tax defense, and then we do have trucking accident as a separate category that we're trying to lean into as well. I'd like to point out as well is that we're an ABA premium solutions provider.
So let's say that a law firm receives a lead from legal brand marketing, and then that lawyer decides that they want to refer that lead out to somebody else because it turns out that they can't help that lead, but somebody that they know or somebody on the network of attorney share is able to receive that lead and address that case. Are there any restrictions that come from legal brand marketing? Is LBM going to be concerned about how that lead is being used? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'd say within reason that, every law firm is, your average law firm is going to know what they can and can't do in terms of the compliance aspect within their own state bar's rules. But as far as their financial relationship with legal brand marketing, what leads we provide, that is just a strictly lead pay-per performance per lead type atmosphere as far as our relationship with whoever the law firm is. And so if they want to take that case and then post it on attorney share, even that percentage is negotiable between those two law firms. Attorney share doesn't even take part in that negotiation. So if they say, I want to take, I'm going to post this case and it's going to be a third of a third, and that's the arrangement between those two law firms. There's nothing on the back end that would involve legal brand marketing at all, nor would we want to be any part of that back end, as being a non-licensed attorney, and we're just a marketer.
So Andy, legal brand marketing operates a slew of brands that cover a vast quantity of legal practices. Can you talk a little bit about some of these specific brands?
Sure. We have, for the last few years, we've been really focused on building up some siloed sites around each core law area. So, for example, we run Social Security Disability.com. We run 1-800-DUI-laws.com, bankruptcyattorneys.net, trafficaccidents.com, nextlegal.com, which casts a wide net, but then also can funnel down because we have practice area specific pages, ticketvoid.com for traffic tickets, taxdebtlawyer.net, just to name a few. And within each site, we have a few hard filters. So, for example, we might, for motor vehicle accidents, we might have a hard cutoff within the form for accidents that have, that were over 2 years old, or they're already represented, or they're not physically injured, or they were at fault. Those would automatically filter off. So, within reason, we do have some hard filters within the site itself. So it's not just a contact us page.
So 2 questions for you, Andy. The first one is, obviously, these law firms, these lawyers are using different client management softwares. Is LBM able to hook into only a specific few, or can they hook into all of them? And what if a lawyer is looking for a practice area that legal brand marketing doesn't provide? What do you do for a client that's asking for that?
Absolutely. I'd say for the most part, we can be as accommodating as possible. When you're talking about APIs, so posting those leads in real time into whatever platform that attorney's using, it's usually pretty easy because you're looking for some sort of endpoint URL, and then you're really just mapping your fields to theirs. They might only want name and email and phone or something like that, and you can map that in there. Given that we would also have every other question that was required that they answered, and we could map all those reasons along with a notes field into their platform rather easily. The default, though, for us for delivering leads is going to simply email one address or multiple addresses of that law firm, but hooking the API is no problem. We also can send direct callers, which we would track and can send to, let's say they set up a dedicated DID for only calls from legal brand marketing. As long as they give us that phone number, we're happy to send to that number, and it could just be the general law firm line as well. So if any lead we had live on the phone, we could transfer them over live to that attorney. And if there's any practice area, if you look through, the long list of practice areas that legal brand marketing handles, and you're saying, okay, auto accidents, bankruptcy, criminal, DUI, estate planning, I don't see immigration here, or I don't see, something else here. Is that something they can do? Reach out to us right away. We encourage it. We're a small company. We're really agile. Believe it or not, if you told us this is some specific criteria of what I'm looking for in a decent case for this practice area, it could be our very next practice area to spin up. We already have 3 or 4 on the short list, and happy to discuss your practice area and how the legal brand marketing might be able to accommodate that.
How can attorneys start implementing the strategies that we talked about with Attorney Share today?
Yeah, I think signing up for Attorney Share, again, takes less than 2 minutes. You just attorneyshare.com, and there's a sign up button, and you just need your name and your bar license number. We make sure that you're in good standing with your state bar, but you'll be on the platform in a matter of minutes. And then I recommend reaching out to Andy and discussing how you can generate additional leads to start growing your own firm's case volume, as well as building out a pipeline of potential referral cases that you could put into Attorney Share and generate significant ROI on those marketing dollars that you're spending.
Andy, if you could please let us know a little bit about how attorneys could take advantage of what legal brand marketing has to offer to grow their firms.
Sure. It's really easy to set up with us as well. I mean, there's no long-term contracts. It's pay as you go on a per lead basis. There are credits involved. So if you had somebody like a Joe Schmo come through or something and that didn't get caught by our lead conduit checks within our trusted form or anything like that, you can credit that back. And in terms of, if you said, hey, I work with Clio, or I work with Law Ruler, I work with any platform, we can hook up to that API and we can post that lead in real time into that system as well. So then that system can then communicate and integrate with Attorney Share.